And apologies, we'd communicated 2:20. I believe it's 5 minutes overtime on that. But in due respect to our upcoming panelists and their schedule, we're going to be starting now. Firstly, a very warm welcome once again to the 5th edition of Future Connect Leaders right here in Mumbai by N-Cube Collaborations. Now post the first segment of day 2, let's now concentrate on Nari Shakti. Women in power, women here to progress, women who are here to enhance the mission of Viksit Bharat by 2047. Women rewriting India's growth story and of course powering a gender equal economy. For this, we're elated that we have with us a very proficient moderator. He's a director of Allies Capital, an investment advisory and wealth management firm, truly known for his expertise in equity markets, portfolio management, and long-term wealth creation. Of course, he's not going to give us any tips because that's his work, but he's here to moderate the conversation, and he's here to show the wealth of knowledge which is there in the women present in the panel today. So with that, can I please take the opportunity and do join me in giving a big round of applause as we welcome our moderator, Probir Roy. Probir looks back, hoping that you guys could have given him a better round of applause, especially after the lunch. And with that, let's move ahead to our panelists. We have our dignitary present here, Payal Gupta, who is the director and CEO of Celebratory Networks Private Limited. Somebody who's a family business practitioner and a seasoned organization development consultant with a strong focus on creating happy and inclusive workplaces. She's an expert in leadership coaching, diversity, equity, and empathy-driven practices and serves as a lean in Circle leader. Let's give her a big round of applause as we welcome her. Well, it is said that when you have food in the system, let's get a little more energy because ultimately we've derived the energy from the food. So yeah, can we have a better round of applause, please? And now, of course, I believe joining online, Probir, I believe Aparna is online. Yes, right there, as we can see her on screen. We have with us Aparna, who's the senior consultant partner of Future Fluence, a coach specializing in helping growth stage CEOs with a business ranging from 20 crores to 500 crores, scale efficiently without operational strain. She's somebody who serves as a CEO, coach and flexi CHRO, leveraging her experience as a former CXO to provide strategic guidance. Thank you so much, Aparna, for joining in.
It's a pleasure to be here. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you. And now next joining in is Nikita Kumawat, the co-founder MD, Brandworks Tech Private Limited, a company specializing in audio solutions, charging technologies and automotive products. And with a strong entrepreneurial vision, she drives innovation and business growth. Let's give Nikita a big round of applause, please. We also have S.S. Bhatt, who is the Chief Executive Officer at the World Banking, Friends of Women World Banking in Ahmedabad. Oh, it's a gentleman. Wait, in a women's panel, apologies. In my understanding that I thought it was just the women's, but then I just realized you're representing them. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's where the gender equity comes in. I absolutely, and especially with Probir moderating it. So somebody who integrates social impact with innovative financial solutions to create the inclusive and sustainable development. And of course, somebody who has a strong focus, like he said, on women empowerment. He also drives programs supporting smallholder farmers' collectivization, sustainable agriculture, as well as the climate action. And also joining us on the screen, if you can see, is Shobna We have Shobna Komal, who's the founder and managing director of SK Law Suites, a distinguished legal practice focused on client approach. With extensive experience in corporate and civil law, she's somebody who builds the reputation for delivering strategic legal solutions and personalized counsel. She's recognized for her leadership, professionalism, and commitment to upholding justice, giving her team and guiding them to achieve excellence in every case. Thank you so much, Shobna. Your smile truly says it all. Thank you for joining in. I hope you're doing good.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having me as part of this discussion. Happy to be here.
Perfect. And of course, with the two panelists on screen and the three in person, I'd like to leave it in the able hands of our moderator, Mr. Roy, to take it forward.
Hi, thanks, Bhavna. So now your job is to ensure that a lot more people come into the room. And I was going to complain there are not enough guys on this panel because it's all women group, and now SSB has joined me. So I have to park that complaint for the time being. So anyway, thanks for coming in for the after lunch session, which is normally known as the graveyard shift because everybody just has lunch and then, you know what, disappears. But we have a very exciting panel. I would like to thank and welcome Payal, Parna, Nikita, SSB, and Shobna. Two of them are joining us online, and so I really appreciate them taking their time out. I know they're very busy. And I was looking at the program, and I found that it's about Viksit Bharat and how to make a gender-equal economy. So those are three words which I'm sure people will have trouble pronouncing, let alone saying in a normal social conversation. But let's try to understand what that thing means. So last year, around the same time, I was at Davos at the World Economic Forum. I think I was moderating from there a similar panel. And last year they released the report on the 2025 Global Gender Equality Report, which said that to get gender equality will take us 123 years from last year, or 5 generations. But as and when we do achieve gender equality, the world GDP will go up to about $400 or $500 trillion. The world GDP today is about $60 or $75. So 5x growth just for ensuring that gender equality is there. So my quick takeaway at that point was that the issues are the same. And I was talking to Payal just before this, and she has just returned, she says, from Brazil, where she conducted a very large program for an MNC. And she just told me one word. She said, probably the problems are the same for women across the world. I hung on that. I said, wow, this is a great starting point for me to start this program. So what does gender equality mean, actually? Let's look at, it can be explained around 5 or 6 axes. One is obviously the biggest bane of all the women is equal pay for equal work. Whether you're a tennis player, a cricket player, or whatever, you get paid less than the guys. I think in the corporate sector it may be less, but I'm sure there's still a problem. So that's one. Second is unpaid work. Women in the economy are doing so many other work. They're doing work as parents, caregivers, society, community, social work, voluntary work, what I call is work which relates to social cohesion of communities and people and economies. So that sometimes doesn't get monetized. So how do we factor in, say, the classical problem in economics was a woman working at home, is her output captured in the GDP numbers? It isn't. So how do we monetize that? The third part is this problem about labor force participation. It's at a very low level compared to women. Women is about, the worldwide average is for men is 90%. It's around 60%, Dr. Narendra was telling me. So that's how to get more women into the workforce. The fourth is related to startups, and we are here from the startup world, and all these girls here are from startups, including Narendra and myself. So we are same community. And startups are still driven by men. 80% of all startups, men. The last part is the STEM part, that a lot of talking about AI, and I just come back from the AI event, and I was told that India is providing 17% of AI skills for the world. But we don't even have one AI platform, which you can talk about, right? And 17% more, 80% are all guys. So where is STEM coming in for women? I think that it's changing slowly, frankly. In STEM is becoming more important. There are a lot more women entrepreneurs who are getting into prediction markets, in AI, who are leaders and entrepreneurs by themselves, who come from a STEM background. They're providing leadership in that space. But by and large, again, STEM is an area where women are not too clearly associated with. And the last part of one of the axes is, which I thought I should mention, is the digital divide. Women still, 36 or 37% of women still don't have access to internet and all. So that's another divide which is perpetuating. So how do we break out of that? So I did mention to you guys that how the world GDP will improve if more women come on board. How a country's growth factor can improve. I believe with gender equality, it can be, GDP can grow 5% faster. In some countries, like in OECD countries, can be 9% faster. So these are some accelerators. Now, last year what we discussed in that meeting was that we said, let's have a gender parity sprint program. So based on the report, some countries and some people figured out that with cooperation from public-private partnerships, 100 public sector companies across the world and 1,500 private companies came together to create an accelerator for women program. It said by 2030, 1.5 million people should be given jobs. And we have a special accelerator program for that, which has about 28 countries right now participating, mainly in Latin America. But again, nothing in India. So people are trying to do something about it in their own way, but we are slightly behind the curve. And I just want to then read out something which I posted on LinkedIn recently, just as a preamble to this, this program today. It's a very short piece, so I shouldn't take so long. The internet is not there. Anyway, just to cut to the chase, is that we found that in India, in the BFI sector, about the women leaders are about 36 to 37%. But by the time they reach the CEO's position, they're only 2 or 3%. Which is more or less in line with what the world average is. Even in the world, senior women about 30, 35, 40% of the top leadership, but very few people make it to the top. So that's the block, that's the choke point. Why women who are coming up the funnel come to a certain level and then suddenly just stop there and don't break out. So what are the things some countries have done? Norway is a pioneer, some of the other countries, UK also. I do a program in the UK for senior women leaders in London, of all the places. Can you believe it? And we speed mentor ladies who are at the high level of their functional roles and are trying to break out into the C-suite or into the corner room or the boardrooms. And we select women and over a period of a year, speed mentor them, and then they are ready to go on to higher roles in the city of London. The similar program, we want to take it to Europe, in Munich and Paris, and at some point I hope we can bring it to India, and there are people in this room who are actually actively trying to do something similar to that. So we are all putting in all our best efforts. And but my takeaway is that women are going to have the same problem unless three things don't get addressed. Women have to mentor other women. I don't know how much that is happening. 2, men have to mentor women. I don't know how much that is happening in India. It happens overseas, they ran into some problem. And men got a little worried, so they backed off on that program. And there have to be some accelerator programs within companies which select women and then accelerate them through coaching and executive leadership programs to drive them to get ready for top positions. So with this quick preamble, I just want to open it up to the House and to, firstly, to Payal. Payal, I just did mention that you came back from Brazil. And you were telling me earlier in the day that you have done programs across the world, literally, from Vietnam to Brazil, if I'm not mistaken. Working with multicultural, cross-cultural women leaders. So what is your takeaway in terms of how you are equipping these women to take on leadership positions in the companies they work in? What are some of the challenges you face? And what is your solution set for them, being a woman leader yourself?
Okay. Very long question, but let me bring the focus to what you said. So in all my work with women across the globe, before I started work out of the country, I used to think This is only an India women problem. But it was surprising for me. You could be in any part of the world. Our challenges are largely similar, unless you come from a privileged background where your parents have told you, "Ji le apni zindagi" types. Otherwise, you're really at the mercy of a lot of the social context. The first thing that I was shocked of when I met women at leadership positions in India, anywhere, is the word ambition is not the first thing that a woman will talk about. And she could be sitting in the C-suite, she could be sitting anywhere. While she may be ambitious, it's not the most natural thing for her to cater to. There are many other reasons why it will happen. In the C-suite, she may still show up with her armor to say, "Main to ambitious hoon." But really, the social context does not permit her to be able to say, "That's my number one dream." Socially, your number one dream has to be family, children, etc., etc. If you say the other, then you become the black sheep. And becoming a black sheep is also a problem because then you are alone. And I can tell you, wherever I have gone, it is dangerous for a woman to want to agree that she is a black sheep. To say that, you know, my ambition is very important for me, or I am ambitious. And my work with women is to get them to see, bring this voice to the table without feeling guilty. So that's the first thing that I have looked at. The other thing that I see is, I think that's also the problem of us women. We are very specialists. Many of us who are specialists in an area may not want to dabble into other parts. So if you are, say, a senior woman leader in a particular organization, you may be a supply chain head. Are you willing to dabble into marketing? Are you willing to dabble into finance, etc.? It's only when you are able to move away from the specialist role that then you can possibly become the CEO of a company. And I think that's something that is on women rather than the context. Is our own ability to be able to take some more risk. I think many women don't take risk in this territory because it also brings comfort. And in our work in women leadership, we've often shared with women, while you are in this journey, you have to take up a business project out of your territory. When you put yourself at that risk, you get exposure. You also put yourself to know aspects which are beyond your expertise. And then you are also looking at business from a more larger perspective rather than a micro perspective. And the third one, I think, which is not a nice thing to say, but somebody who's a woman leader in her office, when she goes back home and she becomes submissive, she's living two parallel lives. And to me, that's a challenge. Because if you're living two parallel lives, you're going to drain yourself eventually. And what I mean by that draining is that if you're able to be assertive at work, that same assertion needs to be home. Assertion needs to be home in the way of boundaries. Ghar ka kaam sirf, it's not necessary for just a woman to do. Really allocate and delegate and figure things out to shared responsibility at home also. Whether it is the child, whether it is the partner, whether it is parents, whoever it is. But this thing of perfection that many women have, that I will do everything because there is a very underlined layer of guilt. Oh, I am actually being a career woman. So to mitigate that risk, many women will do much more. And they'll eventually drain out. I have seen women who are able to manage the same, who they are at home is who they are at work, be more happier and enabled to do better at work. So my top three is ambition, moving away from being a specialist, and to be able to bring the same power of work back at home.
Oh, very well put, Payal. Just to walk the talk, she was not planning to come today because she's shifting house. But husband has agreed to shift the house and move the furniture, so she could be here with us. So that's kind of so I really heard she was trying to say, I said, no, that's fine. And so I know him, so he's quite a good, it's interesting. So now let's bring in Aparna in. She's online. Aparna, hi. Hope you can hear us.
Yes, Pravi, good.
Hi, so good to have you online. A pity you couldn't come here in person. I was really looking forward to having you here. So how do you handle some of these gender equality issues in your own profession, being a CXO coach, being an influencer, being a business accelerator, being a CHRO coach kind of thing? And what kind of competencies do you think you are building with your clients to help them to deal with gender equality?
To start with, I think I spent a long time, roughly around 21 years, being an HR professional and a CXO myself. So I completely agree. First and foremost, it is, we women in our own mind, we have to come to the fact that we can be equally ambitious. Actually, what happens even when when I'm coaching CXO, women CXOs as well, a lot of times they have the potential. They want to cross over and get onto becoming part of the C-suite, or whether it is part of the boards. But there is that struggle between the conditioning that one has. So, like Payal was saying, that why can't you portray that you're ambitious? Why can't you say that you're ambitious? But somewhere our conditioning comes into the way where we say that, okay, if we talk about the fact that we are ambitious, or we want to choose our career over our family responsibilities, or that we are labeled as a black sheep, we're labeled as somebody who's not oriented to the family. We have to deal with that, and that's not a very easy thing to do. So then very often than not, the woman chooses to take on whatever is going on the family front, and take that as a primary responsibility, and then put the work front on the back burner. And it's not just about saying it. And when I'm talking to women leaders, I can see that it's a mind shift change. It's very easy for us, many of us. I mean, I think I'm blessed with a family who supported me throughout my career. Parents, my sister, now my husband, they've been supportive, and they've been there to say that, okay, you do what you have to do, we will manage the rest. But not everybody is as lucky, right? So it comes from a mindset shift as well. And beyond, I think more than functional competence, more than anything else, it is this whole mindset shift that we're talking about. One is agreeing to the fact that yes, you do have the rights to look out for your own ambition and look out for your own career. And the other thing I also feel is, women, as women, and I'm talking to a lot of women leaders who want to get into business, who are already into business as well. Our making sense, or being out there and trying to figure out what we can do, and being confident about what we can do, going out there and seeking help, and going out there and looking for avenues to do that, is pretty limited. We limit ourselves, we inhibit ourselves by doing it. So some of the things that we are trying to break through as part of our programs, as part of our coaching, is some of these things. Whether it's mindset shift, whether it's looking out and how do you sort of think differently, look for be easy asking for help, be comfortable asking for help. Those are the things that we're looking at bringing in.
Thanks, Aparna. One thing struck me was you mentioned that women are a little reluctant to say that they're ambitious. I find it difficult to get my head around these statements, actually. So there's a good time for me to bring in Shobna. Shobna, thanks for being here. And this question is aimed at you. Why should women have to downplay that they're ambitious? And there's nothing wrong with that. You yourself, as I recollect from little that I know, fairly clear on your ambitions, and you don't make any qualms about it. Being a breakout firm from a large global firm where you worked for 20 years, you broke out and started your own firm. And everybody knows that legal firms in India are very male dominated. You might work there, there are a lot of ladies who work there, but the people who make it to the top, as the funnel goes up, it gets narrower and narrower. There are very few equity partners who make it who are ladies. So you broke away and started a practice which is difficult in the space anyway, but how did you think your ambition is helping you to make this decision of breaking out and then making a success of what you actually started off on your own journey?
Thank you, Prabir, for that question. And first of all, I want to begin with thanking the organizers to so thoughtfully come up with this title as Nari Shakti Se Viksit Bharat, powering a gender equal economy, because I remember you were also there, Prabir, in the last panel as a moderator. We were talking about uplifting women, how to empower women, to how to bring more women into the workforce. The discussion has moved so much forward. We're talking about shifting our focus from women being social welfare beneficiaries to leaders in economy, politics, and society, which is great progress, I think. And I agree with Payal and Aparna. I think women are having to pay a tax on being ambitious, which is generally the case. Of course, there are exceptions, but in my scenario, yes, I did have to also go through a career break during maternity. I quit my practice from an international firm when I was at the peak of my career. I took the break. I faced similar challenges that most women do. But I never thought that I would start my own practice. I thought this is a break and I'm going to go back to joining a firm. And they had big vision, like they had a lot of plans for me about making me, like bringing me on board as in leadership positions, like a partner. However, I saw my break. I just shifted my perspective. I saw that as a boon. It was a blessing in disguise, rather. So when I went on this break, I actually started to take on matters independently. And what helped also was that my spouse was a lawyer in a different field. So I started taking on matters slowly, and there was a lot of self-doubt that I had to deal with. And I thought, I have not achieved a certain kind of stability, or I've not achieved my potential that I'm capable of. And the original plan was to go back to joining a large firm and be part of that system. However, what happened over the years is I realized it was the quality of work that I was paying more importance to, rather than looking at numbers and revenue and number of billings. When I shifted my perspective to that, I mean, no wonder I would have been financially stable and financially independent much earlier had I gone back to the law firm practice. In fact, they told me, Shobana, whenever you're ready to come back from maternity, our doors will always be open for you. Rather than going back, which would have been comfort zone, I decided to kind of go through the struggles, go through the motion. It was difficult at one point. I was thinking, will I even have stability or not? But I persevered. And when I started thinking that I'm liking what I'm doing, I started working with startups, with MSMEs, seeing them grow, seeing companies build their IP portfolios, taking them to the international market. When I started feeling contentment, I realized true success is really, and career is not just about revenues and billing. So I felt that there is a purpose, and that's the reason I've been able to stick on, and now I've built a firm practice. So I guess it comes with like a mindset shift about what you think your priorities are. And at one point of time, Prabir, after a few years, I did speak to my family and I said, we had an open conversation about our careers are equally important. And back in the household, we decided on these days of the week, the male members of the family will handle the entire responsibility. And on these days of the week, the women members will handle the entire responsibility. So that kind of a balance came about because we crossed through those struggles. So that was my journey, Prabir.
Great, thanks, Shobna. And I'm sure there's no looking back to you going back to a practice in another bigger firm. I wish you all the best. So I just want to tell you that I don't follow any of these things that Shobna said. There's no division of responsibility. I don't do much. Not even be able to make my own coffee. But that's a different discussion. Anyway, so now we come to Nikita, who's here, and a totally different space. She comes from electronics manufacturing space, and MD of her own firm, deals a lot with product management. So being on the shop floor in engineering, electronics, electrical things, the dynamics are very different. Maybe there are a lot more male members. The staff at the lower levels are male. Supervisory staff is also probably male. How do they look upon a woman leader in the manufacturing space in the SME sector? I mean, especially age also. Do you feel that it works for you? Or you feel that you're constantly having to battle something and create awareness and then try to make your point? Or it's been a good journey for you so far? And what are some of the competencies you feel would be useful to tell others that you practice as to get things done?
Hello. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to join this esteemed panel. Regarding starting my own company in electronics manufacturing, this is actually a very emotional and an intuitive choice comes to people. It's gender agnostic. People start their company and they keep that vigor to grow the company. But when I was building my company consciously, I made it a point that we are spread across and we have women operators, managers, engineers, leaders across all the company everywhere. So I'm very proud when I say I have a 70% of workforce is women in my company, right from operator to I'm the majority shareholder and the MD of the company who started it. But this is, I think I'm one person, one drop in the ocean, but there are many companies. Electronics manufacturing sector contributes to 3.4% to the GDP of country. And when we look at the Viksit Bharat, which is like 40 trillion economy by 2047, it would not happen without women participation. It has to have a mega participation of all of us together, and especially women. And when we say that, it's not only diversity and inclusion, heavy words, right? It's only two things which matters: decision making and value creation. So how do we do that? By learning skills. How do we show our decisions? By really being involved in the discussions, understand what makes the decisioning happening, what is the process, and coming to the conclusion. So yes, and as Payal said that there are events when a women go through a war-like situation, this or that. But I believe I've been a black sheep in my life. I just show up and kind of like make sure this goes ahead. And I see many women doing it, many men supporting it. So it's an ecosystem which is coming along together. In electronics manufacturing, we skill our women in soldering skills using machines, different various machines, SMT machines, lathe machines. So from mechanical to electronics to testing, validation. And these kind of competencies were not as a part when I started 10 years back. So we made a very huge impact on making a skill center everywhere. So the women who started with us 7 years back are now promoted to managers because she could really handle 200 people herself. So these are the things which I see. And now I personally started a Section 8 company where I'm incubating women-led startups in electronic hardware system. This is my bit of giving back to the society. When I was starting up, it was such a big thing to even get that confidence that I can lend money and start my business. So if I can help certain girls under 20 years age and they are electronics engineer, so I believe this can pave a path for the vision our Prime Minister has set for the country, and we can contribute very, very vigorously for that.
Very great. So from that topic, we can straight go to SSB. She talked about becoming a lender and to her women employees. You deal with one of the largest women cooperatives in India for giving them access to credit, financial literacy, financial inclusion for women.
Yeah.
It reminds me of my earlier times when we worked with MasterCard to provide Seva, mobile payment system using SMS for selling their goods and buying their goods in Ahmedabad and that area. So I had some exposure to that with Ela Bhatt and Mirai Chatterjee and all that. Yeah, so I have some complaints on Canara Bank, which I'll take up later. But anyway, so SSB,
Yeah.
so what is working with women, you have probably greater insights than a lot of us.
Thank you, Probit, and thank you, Narendra ji, for this excellent opportunity. I think having heard the stories of top-end entrepreneurs like Shobna and herself, in the electronic sector and the consultancy sector, I would like to tell a small story about the Jankana Bahan from Jikiali village in Amreli district. She is a 28-year-old woman who has come to that village, just married 2 years back, and she is aspirational. But she was doing the caretaking work in the home and she did not have any opportunity to do these entrepreneurial work. At that point of time, our organization used to conduct programs there. Friends of Women's World Banking works with low-income women. And we spread that message that we are conducting programs for the low-income women to develop their livelihood and entrepreneurship activities. And she enrolled in that program. Within 3 months of enrollment after initial training, because she was aspirational, she was ambitious, and she wanted to do something, she started making kakra. Kakra is one of the famous snacks in Gujarat, which is sold very well there. Started making kakra. See, normally from the organization, we handled them for 1.5 years. During that period, she brought in, within 3 months of period, she brought in another 3-4 women to make papads, pickles, and other snack items to sell it outside. Now, now it was started in December 24. Now, when we are in January 26, in December 25, she won the Lakpati Didi Award from the government of Gujarat. That is the story I think is very much required. We need to create. When she was telling about the women, we have large section of the people, women under the low income segment. I think the low income segment women who are in the society, maybe about 200 million women in the society, need opportunities, need support systems, need linkages, either government linkage or credit linkage or other support linkages. I think that is where the organization, as you mentioned Elaben's name, Elaben is the founder of this, and she wanted that these low-income women should get opportunities and they should become the part of the mainstream economy. Then only we can develop. Viksit Bharat can happen when the low-income women have a share in the part of the good share of the economy. That is where the things lie. That is how we try to see that these low-income women are able to get the support, the linkages, and also the support system. In terms of, what we provide, apart from training or capacity building, enhance the access to finance and financial services. That is one of the important things. I think in the morning session, somebody was mentioning that finance is the gold line for any type of enterprise. I think finance, women do not get finance easily.
Right.
I think you must have heard the story of Majumdar Shah, who said that she did not get finance when she wanted to start an enterprise. She went to Canara Bank and took some 5,000 loan initially. Then now she is a thousands of crores.
Nice.
That is where the thing. That's what we try to create products. The risky segments, we try to design financial products so that women have a credit history, they have a transactional history, and also they are able to, with dealing with us for 1 or 2 years or 3 years, and they are able to go to the mainstream market.
Very nice.
Second thing is we are trying to see that how they are built into the collectives. Because one woman cannot do the job.
Got it.
If they are getting together and put their wisdom together, then they can form a collective and try to bargain and negotiate for their benefit. In that way, we try to create these facilities for these women so that the women, the low-income women who are almost at the bottom end of the pyramid are getting facilities, and they can also become the part of the national development, because we have seen one of the largest, world's largest program, NRLM program, which is supporting about, 10 million SHG groups and 100 million women who are generating, substantial income. And if these low-income women are supported, I think as you are mentioning, for 25-26 economy itself, GDP itself, 770 billion of US dollars could be added. That is the opportunity. I think those opportunities we need to catch on and try to see that support. Many such organizations should come and try to see that the unsupported
Sure.
and those unserved and the deeper segments of the society have to be supported. Thank you.
So, yeah, thanks a lot. So, here, this is what we're going to do quickly. I don't think we have much time, so we're going to play a little game here now. So, two things I do as a mentor to some people I mentor. One is take them out of their comfort zone, right? And second is make them work in unstructured situations. To test leadership, you come to the top of your field, you are very good, but then taken out of the comfort zone, then you collapse. Or put in unstructured situations, you can't cope. So what I would like to do for the remainder of the session is I'm going to hand over moderation to Payal. And she's going to moderate till the end of this program. And that's the only way we're going to build capacity, right? Putting people on the spot. So Payal, welcome as a moderator.
All right, I know we have time and I'm going to keep to that. Can you give me, in Hindi they say takya kalam, your favorite phrase if you were to push leaders, and in this case women, what would you say? So this is for all the panelists. And I would like to start with you. You deal with women across layers. What would be your favorite phrase to push them to push their boundary?
जो काम उठाया है वो करके ही आना है.
Okay.
There's no excuses.
No excuses. What about you?
You show them the external world, there is an opportunity for you to grow.
Okay. Aparna, what about you? What would you tell women?
Aparna, can you unmute?
And Shobna, you could go
One second,
next.
Aparna, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a tough one, but I will say that you are your own leader. So, push boundaries and cross the, break the glass ceiling, as it were. So,
Thank you, Aparna. Shobna, let's hear you.
It's a tough one to come up with a slogan, but the statement that I'd like to make is we should constantly we should stop constantly self-monitoring, self-doubting. Whether am I being too assertive? Am I being too absent at home? Am I doing enough of work-life balance? It is okay to not be perfect here and there. We need to accept that this is how we can balance our lives.
All right. Thank you. And my favorite phrase to a woman would be, when your mind is telling you no, just take that one more step first. Over to you.
One thing is, here there are more than 3 leaders, women leaders, whom we honored.
Right.
So that they are getting more and more progress
Yeah,
through
exactly.
NCOOP
That
collaboration.
is exactly the point.
All the best.
Yeah. So I think Payal forgot to ask my 2 penny bits. So his favorite is be a better version of yourself. Become a better version of yourself. So anyway, thanks Payal, Ankita, Aparna and Shobna and Aparna and SSB for this. We are on time, and thanks for their participation. And I hope it was exciting and some fun at least. Huh? So.
General Manager from IDBI Bank, CS Arya, to please join us. And ladies and gentlemen, to all our panelists, let's give them a big, big round of applause, please. Well, truly through their session, we are able to understand the challenges in the industry, but also on an optimistic note, looking forward to the growth story being powered by a gender equal economy. We've got a few leaders already with us on stage. Maybe request all of them to come together for a group photograph. On the other side, do not go anywhere, as we're going to be starting with the next 30 minutes of panel discussion on role of future startups, led by Krupesh Thakkar, CFA, Head of Department Financial Services, Markets and FinTech, ITM Business School.